What is happening, savages? You are listening to Immortal Coil, your future minister of whiskey mysticism. Revolution is my name. And tonight, we're gonna fucking sit back for a sec and talk about a couple little things. First of all, I wanted to acknowledge the chat. We got Random Brad Creator. Hey man, it's been a while. It certainly has, sir. And then we got Decepticon King. Hail with the double fucking birdies right there. Yeah, so I've had a couple of life events happen. I had to move, and then I had to figure out an internet connection. And I actually figured out a way to tether my cell phone signal to my laptop and hoping that it won't blow up StreamYard. It seems to be holding up pretty well, but if something takes a dump, then you know why. But in the meantime, moving is a major life event. It's kind of like a divorce or a death in the family or something kind of like that. But I finally figured it out. I have most of my shit sorted, and now I'm ready to sit back and have a beer and talk with you guys. So thanks for showing up. How's everybody doing out there? Hope you're doing well. To amuse myself while I'm putting my fucking shit back together, I've been listening to the Lore Master, who last week received a very needed shout. Well, probably not needed. A very well heard shout out from Griggs from Geeks and Gamers. Griggs was like depressed about how, same as me, how the end of The Mandalorian was fucking excellent. Fucking excellent. Luke Skywalker shows up and does the Anakin, except it was a Rogue One. It was Vader, but doing it like how Anakin should have done it and just killing a whole shit full of robots. And, just doing that character justice after all the fucking rape he has received. I mean, Jake Skywalker, that's a term that was invented by Mark Hamill. I want to call him Luke. Mark fucking Hamill said he had to create a guy in his head called Jake Skywalker who is completely different from his perception of Luke Skywalker in order to simply play the part, because he did not have faith in the writing and directing that Rian Johnson brought to that second movie. You know, J.J. Abrams sets up this fucking thing where like Luke turns around and it's like, oh, what are you going to do with that? Well, Brian decided to fuck him in the ass. And by proxy, fuck all of us in our asses. And what I mean when I say us is true Star Wars fans. And nobody was ready to get fucked in the ass. We didn't get taken to dinner. There was no lube. There was no gentle shoulder around our, but yet it happened. And before we realized it, we were getting rammed at full force. And it was not comfortable. And it was not welcome. That was The Last Jedi. Yeah. So again, reaching out to the chat, Decepticon King is stoned. That's fine. My thing of choice is beer. I'm drinking Milwaukee's Best is my beer hand, and then I'm sipping on some off-brand vodka, which is fine. Because I'm just here to be savage and get fucked up and talk about the shit with you guys. So yeah, we have these mixed feelings, and then suddenly Luke shows up in The Mandalorian, cutting down those dark troopers. Let's see how you do against a whole platoon. Fuck you, that's Luke Skywalker. He's gonna crush them like garbage. you know, and then he takes Grogu, and that leads kind of into the there's a civil war at Lucasfilm, and Kathleen Kennedy is on one side, and Favreau is on one side, which I don't think that it's open warfare. I don't think they're going around the office like mean mugging each other and like flipping each other off and like fuck you, fuck you. I think it's just more like a aspect of control, and it's being very diplomatically handled. So I appreciate that. I think that Favronley has the vision that will ultimately prevail, because from all indications, this High Republic crap is garbage. Nobody wants it. Nobody cares about it. As EVS and Anna have pointed out, they're recycling the same character forms. You know, you have the overweight Eskimo, you have the head shaved, uh, half side, long hair, the other side, black lesbian. You know, you got like a white guy who's a twerp, who's scared to fully embrace his power. And then you got the strong Whammon, who is the not only the chancellor at the time, but also the headmaster of the fucking Jedi. And Yoda at this point is still like a angry, misogynistic. You know, he needs to be taught by a Whammon how to Yoda, which is what I'm thinking this thing is going to go into. Also, we got Tommy, the hardest working moderator in the fandom Menace. What's up, Tommy? Thanks for coming back, sir. I appreciate your patience. I appreciate you guys fucking hanging out and waiting for the return of the Jedi kind of shit. Tommy is easily mod to like 975,000 channels, which constitute the guinea pig collective. So if you piss somebody off and you feel tiny little claws climbing up your bed sheet at night, don't say I didn't warn you. Okay, so salutations aside, what the fuck has been going on? Well, I've been churning away at my duty as a rough-end construction worker, which I don't know if any of you guys work with your fucking hands or if you've done anything like this, but it hurts. It's complicated. There's shit to deal with. It's dirty. I'm a dirty, hairy, ugly motherfucker most of the days, even though I'm the most handsome man aside from drunk 3PO. But I do have an entertaining crew that I work with, and I have two new guys who work with me, and we constantly bullshit. And then I have the journeyman who's teaching me my craft, and he is we're all dorks. We're all fucking dorks, and we sit around talking about dork shit all day from a savage perspective. And I appreciate that, because you are only as good as the people you surround yourself with. And if you don't know that, wake the fuck up and hear me now. The 4 or 5 people closest to you, that's going to inform how you fucking relate to the universe. And not to say that they own your mind, but they also have a say in how you fucking handle things. Because people tend to be telepathic and be pseudo psychic. What's that word? Psychometry, like when you pick up a spoon and you know who used it, you know, that kind of shit. They'll get in your hind brain and you'll pick up little personality quirks from them, which is fine. It's only temporary, but it affects you. So that's the wisdom behind the saying, keep your circle small. And yes, keep your circle small. Keep it about as small as a male areola. That's my advice. Just saying. Okay. But these guys are good. They're good guys. And the I don't want to call him the junior guy. The third banana on the truck, he does a really good Schwarzenegger. And I do a pretty good Schwarzenegger myself, as you'll see in unfolding events. But the first couple weeks we started talking about like Predator. He's like, here I am, come get me. Here I am. Ah! You know, and Arnold just has such a funny voice, but he has that presence, the both physical and you know, a sheer force of will. He was the motherfucker who was like, you know what? I'm gonna be Mr. Olympia. And then you know what? I'm gonna be a movie star. And then you know what? I'm gonna be the governor of California. California. Gonna take a minute to say, what's up to Bone? How you doing, Bone? I actually just buried you and my girlfriend earlier tonight. So um come up for some air and wipe your face off and join the cast. Yes. Get to the chopper. Do it now. There's a bomb in there. um so yeah, the guy at work was talking about like Arnold quotes, and I couldn't help but stop myself from thinking about this fucking video. And it's so silly. It's only 3 minutes long, so I'm gonna play it. But it's a Bill Hader being interviewed by I don't know, it's either Conan or Jimmy Fallon or somebody like that. It's a late night thing, but the guy who made this video fucking applied deep fake technology to Bill Hader's face as he was doing the Arnold impersonations. And even though Bill Hader is skinny, this is funny as fuck. So please, guys, watch this with me. All right, YouTube. So that's kind of what I was thinking about when my coworker was starting to impersonate Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I'm just like trying to banter back with him because that's what keeps the joke going. That's what keeps the work flowing. So even though your body's hurting and you're up there in the fucking rafters and you're getting splinters and your hands are cracking open, at least you're cracking jokes with your bro, right? Your fucking work bro. Um, Apparently nobody could hear the sound from that video, which fucking sucks because usually YouTube gives me the option to share audio, and maybe it was the way that I fucking shared it. But look at the fucking video. You can go and visit it later. So I guess I just had a big loud moment of silence. God damn. Excuse my face. Well, sometimes you have to chalk it up to an L. What can I say? Moving forward. So Bill Hader was doing like a spot on fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I thought it was so funny. And I have one of those like free associative brains. Okay. I can't help the way that my fucking thing goes. So I just want to, have fun with it and share my perspective. So I see you, Tommy. You're coming in soon. What I thought would be super funny is if, like, okay, you saw how they deep faked Arnold's face onto Bill Hader. What I thought would be funny is if they deep faked Arnold's face onto the fucking Emperor. And we got to hear Palpatine's best words rendered by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, I was actually going to do a video proper where I was going to go into, like editing and like zooming and music and all that shit, like I have been doing the past couple weeks instead of live streaming, and do this up proper. But I thought that it would be better if I was just here sitting with you guys and trying to do this myself. So what we have here, if I can get my fucking computer to behave. Yeah, my display is fucking up. That's one of those things that I tried to minimize when I tethered my fucking cell phone to my laptop. So what I'm going to do is do this. Hope you guys can see it. I'm going to add it to the stream, and it's blank. That is amazing. Okay. Well, we'll do this old school because I'm that cool. Gonna kill that window. Blah. And we're just gonna start over. I love this shit. I hope you guys do too. Okay. I really wanted to have a well planned out show for you guys, but apparently I'm just gonna have to do this old school. So I'm gonna share. I'm gonna do a tab. Oh, and that's where I fucked up. In StreamYard, you have to share a tab in order to get the audio. So, yeah. Okay. So, what we're going to do is pull up this thing from Screen Rant. Emperor Palpatine's 15 best quotes. And I thought this would be so funny to hear Schwarzenegger as Emperor Palpatine. So, number 15. Of course, Palpatine's like, Your faith in your friends is yours. Emperor Schwarzenegger. Your faith in your friends is yours. Emperor Palpatine. Your feeble skills are no match for the power of the dark side. Schwarzenegger. Your feeble skills are no match for the power of the dark side. Palpatine. Everything that has transpired has done so according to my design. Schwarzenegger. Everything that has transpired has done so according to my design. Palpatine. So be it, Jedi. Schwarzenegger. So be it, Jedi. Such a monkey voice. Palpatine. There is a great disturbance in the Force. Schwarzenegger. There's a great disturbance in the Force. Palpatine. Young fool. Only now, at the end, do you understand? Schwarzenegger. Young fool. Only now, at the end, do you understand? Most of these are from Jedi. It's a great movie, and that's actually some of Palpatine's best lines. Oh no, my young Jedi. You will find that it is you who are mistaken about a great many things. Schwarzenegger. Oh no, my young Jedi. You will find that it is you who are mistaken about a great many things. Schwarzenegger would never work under that fucking cowl. Oh, here's a shit movie. I mean, do I play this as a asshole? I don't know. Maybe maybe this is the best time to pull in Tommy. How you doing, Tommy? What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, Nibble Nibble, my good friend? I think, you know what, before you even get to a quote like that, I really do believe that if Schwarzenegger was playing the Emperor, he would bring something new and he'd bring something robust. He would bring quick, get to the TIE bombers. I think that's
Get to the bombers. Do it now.
Do it.
I really think he would, but like I really don't like Rise of Skywalker. So like I don't even know if I could like wholeheartedly or half-assedly or even single-assedly render this quote. So like
Well,
I mean, do you want to try this one?
I guarantee, good sir, you have seen a lot more of it than I have. You know what I've seen? I've seen snippets of trailers. I refuse to watch it.
You won't even do it, will you?
Well,
and that's a man of principle right here, savages.
I refuse to watch the last Jedi too. I won't do it. It was for free on Netflix, and I still wouldn't budge. Nope, I can't have it in my life.
Well, and that's a personal decision that we all have to make for ourselves, and hopefully you won't get slapped around like Gina Carano has been.
Oh man, did you know? I mean, I hate to throw this in the middle while you're doing this because this is such fun. But did you hear the latest? The latest is that she got canned.
So like on Instagram, she went on and posted some of her opinions, and there is a lot of pressure at Lucasfilm to have her actually sacked. But you're saying she actually was? Because I heard that
I threw an article in your Savage chat.
Okay.
I don't know how true it is because you know how some of these articles, like from some of these media companies like The Wrap or Deadline or any of the other ones. There's a lot of times they turn out to be bullshit and they're no better than the National Enquirer. But I don't know the veracity of their claims of her actually being fired, but they are claiming that she has been fired. And there's a lot of people woo-hooing about it on Twitter from the Izzy side.
Well, that's what's funny because, and again, he always advises to take it with a grain of salt. Lord Doomcock said that she was being like kind of umbrellaed by Favreau. So those two guys together just kind of, and I don't know, like I suppose it's like a hurry up and wait kind of situation because as a person, I think Gina Carano is awesome. She was pretty good on The Mandalorian as Cara Dune. You know, she found herself into a situation where she could offer Bill Burr, who is my favorite comedian at the moment.
Oh God, that paper Tigers was absolutely hilarious.
Oh, dude, I love that motherfucker. And actually, in my downtime, I have Tommy. I've been studying that motherfucker's podcast, like his delivery, his fucking vocabulary, his timing, and I think that that's kind of the way to go at this point. So I'm going to tell a little bit more of personal stories, but I'm also trying to infuse it in entertainment to give our audience some anchor, some sort of like basis in reality. So yeah, so maybe you take this next one. So this is from The Rise of Skywalker. Tell me your best Palpatine and show me your best Arnold.
Okay. Long have I waited, and now your coming together is your undoing.
That's pretty good.
And Schwarzenegger.
Okay.
Long have I waited, and now you're coming together. You're undoing.
I fucking love it, dude. I mean, like Arnold as the fucking emperor, that would be hilarious. Okay, so again, from this terrible movie, he goes, "I have died before," and Arnold would be like, "I have died before."
And if you don't believe it, stick around.
Yeah. If you don't believe it, take that lightning Scooby-Doo dick out of my face. Get it down. Fuck, dude. Okay. There is a lot of emphasis from Screen Rant in this particular article.
Could you imagine that?
Dude, and to get paid by these fuckers and okay, so here's your job. Like, I want you to take Palpatine and make up the 15 most relevant points, but make 5 of them clearly The Rise of Skywalker. Because, you know, he's back. He's the big bad. That's what the title scroll shows. I mean, what the fuck, man? Just because the fucking thing says that doesn't mean that it's real.
They want it to be real, though. I mean, you know what? If they don't cave in, if they don't gerrymander to these people and do the kind of things that they want to do, and they want to, you know, don't jump through the hoops like good trained animals, they're not going to get those free tickets to go watch these movies so they could review it for them. And then the process starts all over again, where they get on top of the little unicycle like a bear and they do dances and everything else.
Word. I mean, these people, they're part of a promotion machine. And it's one of those things, Tommy, like, whenever I read articles online, because, you know, like you pull up your cell phone and you swipe and there's all your news stories. Whenever there's like a quote unquote rumor, like, oh, here's a rumor that motherfucker gets his own TV show. What do you think? I think that that's like passive audience polling. You know, what would you as a consumer like to see? Yeah. And if everyone's like, oh, that's fucking stupid, they're not going to do it. But if everyone's like, oh, guess what? But then, like, also when the hype machine wants to be like, oh, we're going forward with this, they're going to be like, this actor is so excited to be a a character that's included in the new blah 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 series, exclusive to Disney Plus.
Well, you know what? Here's another thing, and I just throw this on there. These moronic companies, especially Disney. You know what? Don't even get me started with Disney. I've never watched The Mandalorian. I've had no freaking desire to watch it because I don't trust Disney. I've never trusted Disney, and I have not watched anything of theirs in the theater since The Force Awakens. Like, The Force Awakens was the last thing that I seen in theaters as far as Star Wars Disney is concerned. And the very last movie I've ever watched of Disney's was I watched Guardians of Galaxies 2. And that was it. I could not tolerate any more Disney after watching what they've done, not just with Star Wars, but all these other different franchises. And I just could not take it anymore. Now, with this whole thing with The Mandalorian, they got a show that's like doing fairly well for itself, because I've heard a lot of different people talk about it. I have a close friend that I've known since I've been like 13 years old, and he loves the damn show. Granted, he's not the world's, most profound Cara Dune fan, but he thinks the character's okay. But he's more, he's into Star Wars, but he's still more of a normie type Star Wars fan in a way, if you get what I'm saying. He's a huge fan, right, but he's not huge into all the back lore and everything like that. He likes the movies and stuff. That's what he likes, and that's the extent of his knowledge when it comes to Star Wars. So I think they get this thing where they have this show that's really taken off and it's doing really well, and then they get all this backlash, and then the SJW tangent is over there. They're freaking out, and the blue hair dye is running out of their hair, and they're losing their minds. We can't have this. It looks bad for business. And if they get rid of Gina, if they really did get rid of Gina, they're going to watch their numbers plummet. And then what are they going to do? Who are they going to blame it on then? Then they're going to blame it on the fans, like yourself, and
for being toxic.
For being toxic. And that's where it's going to go. Well, where do you think all the people went when it started tanking? You dumbasses.
Well, yeah. Gina Carano represents the toxic fan base of Star Wars that we're trying to move away from in order to execute our new vision of Star Wars, which doesn't fucking sell shit.
It just so reminds me of like everything you've seen from 1984 to V for Vendetta. It's all the same type of story, and it's been told over and over again, a warning about when one narrative is being funneled, and that's it. What happens? And you got all these people just sitting there in their echo chamber screaming for it to happen.
Yeah. And I think that that's basically what they're trying to do, is just like cheerlead each other. And I think in the current political climate, they've been emboldened. So we have a couple more of these to move through. So let's
all right.
Okay. This will be the final word in the story of Skywalker versus Arnold. This will be the final word in the story of Skywalker.
It is not a tumor.
You take this one.
Oh, I'm afraid. Oh, I'm
Who is your daddy? What does he do?
Oh, I'm afraid.
We'll start with Palpatine and then switch to Arnold.
Right. Oh, I'm afraid the deflector shield will be quite operational when your friends arrive. Oh, I'm afraid the deflector shield will be quite operational when your friends arrive.
It will. And it's fucked up because like Arnold is always the guy who is, leading the fucking attack. So he would probably be Han in this situation instead of the Emperor. But the Emperor is about to get the core of the reactor core shoved up his ass because Vader is fucking sick of him.
You know what? And getting the reactor core shoved up his ass would be just like that scene in oh God, what was it? Total Recall. And where his face is all like pulling apart and everything.
Yeah. We've got to get those people air. Arnold is so fun to do, man. he has such a fucking weird ass voice that it's, you know. Okay. Here we go. This is from the Phantom Menace. And actually, I think Sidious has never looked better than in these couple of scenes. So he goes, wipe them out. All of them.
Yes, my master.
Yes, my master. And then what would Arnold say? He'd be like, wipes them out. All of them. Like, I don't even know how to make Arnold like grumbly. Like, he's just so loud and like stupid. He's like, ow, ow, ow. But you have to bring him down to this like, you know, it's like, how would Arnold sound if he was like secretly seeking up on a dick or something?
Wipe them out. All of them.
Out. All of them.
Like you got a package of preparation H.
Right. So this is the ultimate fucking Palpatine line. Maybe one of them. But like, so, okay. How would Palpatine render this? And how would Arnold render this?
Execute Order 66. Okay, listen up, people. Execute Order 66. Do it now. Do it.
Execute it. Do it now. He like barfs out everything he says. I mean, and I love Arnold. He's like a Pensu ultimate actor. He's one of those guys that like defined the fucking 80s. I mean, imagine your life without Commando, without Predator, without Terminator. You can't do it. Not if you're a dork. Yeah. Imagine your life without Kindergarten Cop.
You know what? Okay, and I don't care what other people say. I like Jingle All the Way too. I don't care. It cracked
Did you?
Me up. Yeah.
The golden fucking ticket. Okay. So number 2 is you, like your father, are now mine. Okay, and Arnold would be like, you, like your father, are now mine.
So who's your daddy?
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Last action hero, yeah, right, Rand Brad.
That's fucking retarded. So the number 1 most, okay, this is all you, Tommy.
Power. Unlimited power.
Castle Grayskull.
And then Arnold. Power. Unlimited power.
Oh my god, like that's like the last dying breath of Arnold. Holy fucking shit, man. Like
get that nice little cough in because he probably had a couple of stogies right before the scene.
Right, like that's the last like pump of fucking shit he has from his nether regions. It's insane, dude. So that's the power, ladies and gentlemen, of Arnold Schwarzenegger being the emperor of the fucking galaxy. We also have Parrot Head tuning in. Hellran and Brad. This just in, Tommy admitted he's a freak. He's saying hail all. Hail Parrot Head. How the fuck are you doing, sir? Right on. So how you been, Tommy? Can you talk for like 3-4 minutes and I'll be right back?
Yeah, man, I got time to sit there and chat with the people.
Yeah. Just tell us what you've been up to. Tell us what your channel's doing. Sell yourself to all 2 people watching this.
Okay, right. Hey, you know, I work by the hour, so I mean, just like any prostitute in New York City, I want to get paid. I'm just joking. No, how's it going, y'all? I know Random Brad, I've seen you earlier. What's going on again, Parrot Head? Bone, I don't know if you're still in the chat or not, but it's always good to see you too, man. I'll tell you, man. Just to let you guys know, I mean, I am still trying to find time to be able to drop on these streams and have a little bit of fun and chat with everybody and check to see what you guys are all doing. It's been really difficult since I'm actually still up in Jersey and I'm still taking care of my dad's house. So even just trying to get videos done I don't usually have a whole lot of time to do all this stuff because I'm just working around the clock in that house to try to get everything finished. And if I'm not doing that, I'm doing paperwork. So it's crazy. It's crazy. It's absolute nuts. I did get a video up the other day, and I do have a couple like partial videos ready about some of the things that I found in the house. So I do have a few more of them that hopefully going to be going up in the next few days. So any closer? Yeah, I'm actually really close. I'm in the basement, which is pretty much the last room, but the basement is the full length of the house. And he had that basement piled from floor to ceiling, like everywhere else, except in the basement, there's a lot of heavy shit down there. Like he has outboard motors down there, freaking just tires laying around, like you name it, he's got it down there. There's a lot of stuff that I'm strong enough, but even some of that shit is just beyond one person to be able to tote around. So I'm trying to get it done. And
Crazy.
I'm also going to be doing
Is that the place that you have all those pictures that you're sending into the DMs? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I'm in the last room in the basement, and it's a madhouse down there. But the only good thing about it is 90% of it is scrap metal trash. There's not a whole lot of like good finds down there. I found a few. I found like some turtles and stuff like that, but
yeah,
I found the turtle chopper. Still, it was in the box. I opened the box up because the tape.
I didn't realize they had a chopper. I thought they had a blimp.
Well, no, it was like a chopper bike. It had like a sidecar that was a trash can.
It was a chopper.
It was a chopper.
It was a chopper.
Get in the chopper. Do it.
Do it now.
But I found that. Opened the box up, and the damn thing was never assembled. So it was brand new sitting in the box. I was like, holy shit.
So what was the condition of the box? Like, is it resellable?
It has a few dings in it, but otherwise, like the artwork on it, everything is like pristine. It's not faded out or nothing. So
you should find a turtle door can make like $1,000.
No, I'm going to try to see what I can get. I'm going to wind up when I finally do get home and I can start setting up and doing my live streams again. When I do my Monday retro discussions, going old school panels again. I'm planning on showing a lot of this stuff that I'm not keeping. And at the end of the video, I'm just going to let everybody know that this is going up on eBay. So if you're interested in it. So.
Well, hit me up when you start going back to Mondays, man. I owe you a favor now. So thanks for showing up and shit.
Oh man, it's my pleasure. I mean, I actually had time, so you know what I mean.
Yeah,
that's what I was explaining. I mean, it's so crazy. Like all the time that I have invested, 5 months, man. 5 months was today. Today was my 5th month up here.
Well, and I get it. Like time, like slips away pretty easily, and I had to step back because I was moving and blah blah blah. I finally got in a position where I could start streaming again, and I'm trying to like stream one. Upload a video, stream video, at least to start with. Because I have several friends who have become like famous in this short amount of time just because they had time to make like 3-4 videos a day. And I can't do that, and I'm not like, that's not a fucking thing against them. I'm glad they're hustling. I'm glad they're getting famous. But, it's like I'm like the coolest channel nobody knows about.
I mean, it is one of those things that, and I did notice this when I had all the time in the world to sit there at home before Dad passed and everything. I was trying to get no less in a week's time, a full 7 days. I was trying to get no less than 5 videos up every week. And when I was doing that, I was watching my numbers just continuously just growing. And the minute I couldn't do that anymore because of everything that happened with my dad, that's when I noticed the numbers. Well, they didn't tick down. I lost over 100, and I think it was 130 or something like that, like overnight.
Oh shit! Yeah,
like they just boom, 130 gone.
I think some of that's attention span, but I think some of that is just like, look, we're an underground flavor. You gotta pass this around like a joint, and you gotta be like, hey, have you heard about this guy? As opposed to like the fucking corporate billboard, like, hey, check out this motherfucker because he's pounding the algorithm.
Everybody starts off that way though, because I remember when I mean, look at Drunk 3PO. Look at he's at 33,000 now. Granted, that Fox News article helped him out tremendously, but he was slowly building his way up. And I remember being on his very first live stream ever, and there was only a couple
Yep.
of us in the chat, and I was like at the time I was like one of the most
Oh, yeah.
active people in the chat, talking about a Voltron figure that he had on his freaking bookshelf on his old setup.
Yeah. Well, so and I'm gonna say a controversial name right now because he's not well liked by the Phantom Menace, but my buddy Black Angus Reviews had Drunk 3PO on as like his featured guest, and I was there to like co-interview him. And so we go way back, man. He is the handsomest member of the Phantom Menace, but he said I'm the most manliest, and that like is a quote out of his mouth that came out of author Stephen Walton's. It wasn't the Rogue fucking crew; it was like the crew before that.
Well, you know what?
He
I'll say
rebranded
this.
himself.
I'll say this about Black Angus. I don't have any beef whatsoever with Black Angus. You know, we've exchanged a few, you know, jabs back in here and there, but you know, it was all pretty much in good fun. But he's one of the few people that I noticed that will sit there and talk about. He will have anybody on his streams and talk to just about anybody, and he will do it. So
yes,
the man, he can be taken at his word, at least on stuff like that.
Well, yeah. And I'll say this, like Black Angus will have any fucking perspective on his channel as long as they can explain themselves well. But Black Angus represents himself just as we represent ourselves, you know. So do what you do, we do what we do. It is what it is, and at the end of the day, you can only be yourself. Mm-hmm. You know, and if you can't be yourself, fuck off my channel.
Oh, you know what though? I mean, that's the most hilarious thing. The thing that there is a whole bunch of goddamn phonies out there. I've run into them numerous times over the past 3+ years that I've been doing, you know, between modding and everything else. And they're out there, and it's just amazing because they really think by being some phony ass character and being somebody that they're not, that they're impressive, and they're not. They're not at all.
Well, and I think that's where people tend to get sideways. Is like, look, if you give these people a platform and allow them to expose themselves as a guy with their pants down, then that's what they do. But like, it's not the platform's fault that they took their pants off.
Yep. I've seen a few of them too, man. I've seen, and I've laughed my motherfucking ass off. I've watched a few of them. They sat there and they were pulling the phony game, and they were pulling the, you know, trying to pretend something that they're not, and then they got caught with it, and they got called out on it, and then all of a sudden, most of their subs disappeared. Everybody started leaving them. So then they had to come back, and they had to be real, and it was a whole new experience, and it was almost like starting all over again and rebuilding.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is that people in YouTube land, they want to relate to you as like a Borg fucking guinea pig, and they want to see me as a crystal skull, but they're not prepared to deal with the full fucking personality of who we actually are. So if we go out there peacocking and posturing, people will sense that, but they'll also sense our sincerity if we go the opposite way. Which is why we're speaking tonight, because you're a genuine dude. And I think everybody listening right now are genuine people.
Hail to the people in the chat.
Hail to the people in the chat. So, on to the main thrust of tonight. Have you been watching WandaVision?
Nope. That's all part of that whole Disney I walked away from.
Oh, you sure did, didn't you?
Yeah, okay. I'm telling you, I refuse to bend on it. And it's not like I haven't had opportunities. I've had a lot of people that, you know, they said, look, you don't have to worry about giving money to Disney. You know, you can come. Well, I'll open up a private link and we'll watch it. And I was like, nope, I can't do it. And they're like, yeah, but you're not. And I said, no, I can't do it because that's violating everything I believe. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to have nothing to do with it. And I said, I'm sorry if that offends you, but I won't. It's my principles, and my principles say I can't have anything to do with it, and I won't.
Okay. So, and I respect that, man. You are a motherfucker of your word. And that's the reason why I talk to you. That's the reason why you're a mod on the fucking channel. Thank you. But I'm going to have to explain some things to you about WandaVision as if you're a virgin in order to keep the fucking thing going for the show. So if you could just hear me out, and you don't have to watch this, just listen to me.
I just need to
Yeah,
ask you one thing, please. Be gentle.
go ahead.
Please be gentle.
Oh shit. Okay, so I mean, if you relax a little bit, and I'm pretty sure it's wet. Okay. Well, we'll just take this slow. It's just gonna be the tip. If you decide you want to watch this later, cool. If you want to just like, okay, nod your head while you're a guest on my show, that's fine too. Either way, just be yourself. Fucking rock yourself out and take no prisoners. I know you wouldn't, Tommy, but I have to say that for the people who are brand new to the show. Okay, so you've seen Age of Ultron and Endgame and Infinity War and all that.
I've seen Age of Ultron. I never watched Endgame. By that point, that was one of the things. Nope, I wouldn't watch.
Okay, have you seen Infinity War?
Infinity War, I did see, because I was over a friend's house and they watched it, and this is. It was when I was still on my borderline of whether I was going to tolerate watching any more Disney or not. So I did watch that. I liked it, but there was a lot of things in it I thought were just way off, but
sure.
Whatever.
Sure. Well, and that's the thing about movies is most of them are vetted out to general audiences versus people who are nerds in the lore. So I can tell you things about vibranium that have nothing to do with the Wakanda that we were presented with, but because you're supposed to jump up and say yay at the jump up and say yay, and you're supposed to boo at the boo moments. We don't get like 100% representation of what representation. I fucking hate that word. We don't get what we don't get what we were given in the fucking comic books. Okay. And if you're a dork, that matters. But if you're just like a dude chewing popcorn, you don't really want to get hung up on the Tesseract was actually in this position at this time. You don't want to be that guy on The Simpsons.
Well, I mean, the one thing I'm going to add in there, and I understand that, being a longtime comic book fan, and I've seen a lot of these movies that were done fairly well, but they were nowhere even close to the comic books. And one of the ones that I really did enjoy is I enjoyed the very first Guardians of the Galaxy. Good movie. It was hilarious. It was a good, funny movie. But if you look back to the comic books, that Guardians of the Galaxy iteration never existed in Marvel Comics before.
No,
not like it. Not like in that movie.
Not like that. Well, because like in comic books, you have, I don't know, 17, 25 issues to develop a story. Whereas in a movie, you have 2 hours to take audience from point A to point B to the climax to point,
And that 2 hours is usually a maximum anymore for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, they can kind of push forward or past that, but, you have to hook them with enough eye candy, and enough music is very important. So like when it's really sad, you have to hit that sad note that makes you want to kill yourself. And when like it's triumphant, like you have to stand up and want to like kill everything. It's hard shit to do, but there's a science to it. And most of these fuckers at Marvel specifically, I'm curious to see the Snyder Cut. I'll watch that, but they haven't performed as well as Marvel. So these fuckers at Marvel have them at a science. So okay. To fucking lay the ground here. In the events of Infinity War and Endgame, the Vision gets killed by Thanos, and he rips the Mind Stone out of his third eye, right? So you understand what I'm saying. So
yeah, well, I remember that in Infinity War. That was like at the end of the movie.
Yeah. Now, Wanda had she been in full possession of her power, could probably have stopped Thanos. But I think her attachment to Vision and her grief and her young state of mind prevented her from doing so. So she submits to what Thanos has done, and then he snaps and everybody goes away. And then Spider-Man happens, and then Endgame happens, and everybody is snapped back, but it's been a couple years. Okay. And WandaVision on Disney Plus takes place between months and 1 year from when the snapback happens. So people have disappeared and come back. And Wanda wants her own pocket reality. So she creates it. She resurrects Vision, puts back the Mind Stone, and creates it as a 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s sitcom, which sounds kind of funny. You have to watch the show. I'm pretty entertained by this show. So I'm not saying watch it, Tommy. I'm just saying I'm entertained by the show. So she is able to pull people into her reality and keep people outside of that reality and make it appear to be a TV show. Now there's people outside of that TV show reality that's trying to do it, but it also lays a template to introduce mutants. And at the very last episode that we were given, which was episode 5, she brought back Quicksilver, Pietro, but it wasn't Pietro from her franchise. It was the Pietro from the X-Men franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the dude that played Quicksilver in what the fuck was it? With
Ultron.
James McLemore.
Oh yeah, yeah. I thought you were going to say the one that was in Ultron is not part of it.
No, so he's dead. He's gone. He was not resurrected. The version that was resurrected was the one from James McLemore when they went back and not Days of Future Past, but maybe
Origins. Yeah. Was it Origins? Yeah. Origins, right?
Yeah. So the younger Professor Xavier and his ilk, which is funny because Wolverine was there, but he's not going to be in this fucking show. I don't think so. But yeah, so that leaves the interesting question. And that's the subject of this article. Is WandaVision hiding mutants in plain sight? So I'm not going to blah, blah, blah through this whole article. I'll just give you the gist of it. It's just, the people who were blipped out and were gone for a year, they blip back in, and perhaps they're slightly altered, and maybe their X genes were activated. What do you think, sir?
That's an interesting thing, but wouldn't their X genes have already been activated if they were snapped out?
Right. So the interaction with the Infinity Stones. So if you had a whole planet full of normal mutants, and then suddenly half of them were gone, but then Tony Stark, and then all of them were back. How do you know that they wouldn't come back slightly different?
I don't know. I mean, that's an interesting quandary. I mean, I really don't see how they would be any different, because unless the Infinity Stone is actually doing something at the molecular level where it's rearranging their subatomic particles, I don't see how it really would change myself, but that's just guessing.
Well, and that's a good point. I want to address the chat real quick. Random Brad says, I like hearing about the shows, so I don't have to watch them, which is I think what you're saying to me right now, Tommy.
No,
But
yeah, I mean,
I also want to.
I have no desire to watch it regardless. I mean, I like the idea of them. I like the idea of the mutants and the X-Men being able to live on. That whether or not they just take away the title X-Men and all the other shit that they were talking about, and taking away the title of mutant is just a whole different story. But the idea that they might be able to live on in some some fashion, I think is probably a good thing.
Well, okay, so I want to say that there is precedent for people who have been changed by exposure to Infinity Stones. And excuse me. Had to fucking burp because I'm drinking beer. Okay. So the biggest stupidest example, and I emphasize stupid, is Carol Danvers, right? She was subjected to an Infinity Stone and became Captain Marvel. Fuck her. She can suck a dick, take a walk, and all that shit. But she exists in canon. And the only reason that I bring her up is because Rogue, who is a mutant, is going to drain her. So I'm looking forward to that. Like when Rogue kills Captain Marvel, dude, I'm going to have a fucking full Monty hard on erection. And Captain Marvel will not get it, but I will risk being drained by Rogue just to give her the tip.
Well, just be careful that you don't get cited for that erection.
I know. Like I'll get a ticket. I'll get a ticket from authorities. You know, Shield will come down and be like, "You can't do that. Fuck you." But also, who else was altered? Well, anyway, so she's a prime example that you can be changed by an Infinity Stone. And because Thanos involved half the population of a planet with Infinity Stones, there's a chance that, like, at least 25 to, I don't know, 50% could be changed and activated when they come back because they were processed through some kind of nether force that is only understandable by Infinity Gauntlet physics, right? So that's the thing. So WandaVision is one of those shows that are trying to show that different versions of characters from Fox can be brought into the MCU, and that's a slow filtering process. I think we're going to see a lot more with Doctor Strange and the multi-universe of madness. And eventually, when we see the eventual X-Men movie, we'll see more of that. And I got like another fucking fireball in that. But tell me what you think, Tommy.
Well, like I said, the idea that they're going to be able to possibly continue on is probably good in its own way, but I think this may be a way for them to use carte blanche to say, okay, with the Infinity Stone, they're changed. So the X-Men and the other mutants that you knew from Fox and everything else, they're not going to be the same. We're going to be able to change them now because, hey, the Infinity Stone made them different. And I think this just might be a way for them to be able to change things and have an excuse of why they changed them. So they could sit there and say, hey, well, this isn't the same people that you remembered, so don't get mad. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Okay. So like that's their excuse to recast shit or to rewrite shit?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. We've convinced Bone, excuse me. I'm gonna binge watch WandaVision later. Cool. Random Brad says, now I really like Doctor Strange. Dude, Brad, Doctor Strange is my favorite fucking movie of that MCU verse. I am one of those guys that like I've had lucid dreams. I've astral projected, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I've been out there. So I really relate to Doctor Strange. Shit that doesn't make sense to most people makes sense to me. That's why my avatar is a crystal skull. So, okay. So, the big thesis of tonight, sir, is this thing, because it's fucking personal to me. Where the fuck are you? Yeah, this
You can do it.
You can do it. Do it now. Okay. It says WandaVision theory says Logan. God, let's garbage out. This is a garbage tier. We got this covered. Don't ever fucking look at it unless I've told you to. Look at all the shit I have to close down just to have a normal experience. This is horse shit. Okay. New WandaVision theory says Logan is responsible for X-Men joining the MCU. Now, Tommy, you've seen Logan.
Yeah.
This movie, like I saw it in theaters. I bought tickets to see it in theaters 5 fucking times. Every single occasion, it made me cry. I'm gonna be a fucking man and admit that. It brought tears to my eyes every fucking time. For me, it was probably the best comic book movie. I don't know how to rate this tier. So for me, it's like Batman 89 is up there. Superman, Christopher Reeve is up there. And Logan is up there. But also like Unforgiven is up there. You know, shit like that. Braveheart is up there. These are all Riddick. These are all movies that occupy the same like space in my heart and mind. You know, I don't know if it was like that for you. What do you think?
I enjoyed Logan. I wouldn't say it was my favorite X-Men movie with him in it, or X-Men, not even, not titled X-Men, but you get what I'm saying. Like an X-Men spin-off. It was not my favorite. I think part of the reason I was a little bit less enthralled with it is just because I was already used to the Logan death that they gave in the comics. So,
with the covered by adamantium.
yeah. I was
Yeah.
already, I had grown accustomed to that. So, I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, I get why they did it, because they want to introduce new characters and everything like that. And, it is what it is.
Sure.
I mean, I kind
Well, and Hugh Jackman was done.
Yeah, but I kind of wish they would have did the son instead of some girl, like almost daughter figure that at that time never really existed in the comics.
So you wanted to see Dakin?
Yeah, because he was a son of a bitch.
Okay, he sure was. Well, obviously, I'm a fucking Wolverine fan.
No way.
Right?
When did that happen? Holy shit! This whole time I've been fooled.
Yeah, I know. Really, motherfucker. So it's one of these things. Like this specific theory, is plausible, but this is not like one of those things that I think is likely to play out. But this actually like wraps it up in a specific way that I think most people can relate to. So this article, and this is coming from Jesus Christ, we got this covered. Total garbage. I fucking hate this website. I just clicked on the tab and it showed me like a bunch of like shit that I don't even care about that I have to close down because holy shit, none of this belongs on my channel. New WandaVision theory says Logan is responsible for X-Men joining the MCU. Okay. And I'll just kind of like center this and I'll give a synopsis of the article. Okay. The person who wrote this says that in the Logan universe, okay, and this comes from a Reddit user who, if you click on this article and read the whole fucking thing, is fully credited for. This Reddit user says that the reason that the mutants disappeared from the Logan timeline was because Wanda pulled them into the universe that she occupies. And it so happened to correspond to a seizure that Charles had. And he thought that he had killed everybody. But actually, the Scarlet Witch took everybody. And he has been walking around with this guilt for the senior years of his life. And Logan has been, you know, husbanding Charles this whole time. So, what do you think, man? Take a couple minutes and I'll be right back.
I don't know. I think it's probably an interesting theory. I mean, once again, I'm leaning back towards this is a way that they're going to be able to just recast things and change things up without getting people too upset, because they're going to say, well, this is a different universe. This is a mirror universe. Things have changed. I mean, that's just my perspective on it. Probably not going to wind up watching it anyway. But, you know, I keep hoping that maybe one of these days Disney is going to go so far down the toilet that they have to sell off the MCU and sell off Star Wars franchise to a company that's going to pay it some respect and do it right. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. Yeah, Randa Brad. It's interesting an idea, and I think you know, it's probably a smart move on their part to probably be able to use all these characters that they paid for. Because I mean, when they bought out Fox, they essentially paid for everything that was in the Fox library too, in a way. You know, even though they really only bought Fox and all that, but everything that was underneath their library that they had rights to, they gained the rights to that as well. So, and not that it really mattered, because since they own Marvel, they ultimately were going to have all the rights to all those characters anyway, even if Fox just would have went out of business and poof, disappeared. Because whatever contract that Marvel originally had with Fox and all these other companies like Universal, I mean, because that's one of the things where you're not going to see a standalone Hulk movie in the MCU, because Universal still owns the rights to the Incredible Hulk. So until that changes, until Marvel either like tries to make a deal and buy back the rights, or Universal doesn't do anything with the Hulk and turns the rights back over to Marvel, yeah, you're not going to see a standalone Hulk movie, and you're only going to see these little, you know, cameo performances. And even then, I think they still have to pay some kind of royalties to Universal for using it on screen. It is what it is. I would love to see them do a Hulk movie, right? I mean, I think they came really close when they did the Edward Norton one, but it's one of those things. I mean, if they really wanted to like draw some attention back to not only, you know, like the you know, being able to use mutants and everything like that, one of the first movies that they should use, if they're going to do it, is they should have Wolverine versus the Hulk. Something like that would sell like hotcakes. That would easily draw people in, because like underneath Spider-Man, two of the biggest characters in Marvel's bullpen would be the Hulk and Wolverine. They're the next two up. Because I mean, you talk about Captain America and Iron Man and all of them. They're known. They were always known in the comic universe, but they were never superstars. They never were. I mean, if you look back to the early cartoons, you've seen cartoons for the Hulk, you've seen cartoons for Spider-Man, you even seen cartoons for Thor. You did not see no older cartoons for Captain America, Iron Man, or any of these other guys. I mean, even Black Panther. I mean, Black Panther was a known character, but he wasn't a tier comic book hero at the time. Neither was Blade either, until they came out with the Blade movie and it paid a little bit more attention to him, and he became more of a superstar almost overnight because of those movies. And, you know, Denzel did a hell of a job with him too. So yeah, Hulk Wolverine. Oh man, that was such a good book. It was like, you know, they also had oh god, why am I blanking on his name? The Wendigo in that. Such a good comic. Like if they wanted to draw people in and they wanted to get not only normie fans in, but if they wanted to like get the attention of the hardcore comic book fans, you do a Wolverine versus Hulk with the Wendigo in it and do it right. Holy shit. You would make people's heads turn. You would make them pay attention again. whether or not they would actually take that road and take that risk to actually do it right, now that's a whole different story, because I just don't think that Disney has the nuts to do it correctly, because they're too worried about caving to social justice and all this other crap. Damn mouse. I hope you burn. I hate you. You're bringing shame to the rodent community, and the guinea pigs are quite upset over this. Now, I mean, obviously, Brad, you would like to see that. As anybody else, is there any movie like that you would like to see that they should do to really draw attention? If they want to bring mutants in, I think that's the way to do it. They talk about, I see it all over the place. I even seen it on shirts in the mall today where they had the Mandalorian. They say this is the way. You talk about Hulk and Wolverine, bringing the mutants into the MCU and doing it right. That would be the way. Now, here's the whole other thing, though. If you're going to have a movie titled, Hulk versus Wolverine, does Universal take part in its production, since they own the rights to the theatrical releases of the Hulk? That could be interesting. Maybe with Universal, even partially behind it, it would be done correctly. Hey, you closed it down. That's all right, Mortal. I'll hold it open till you get back, buddy. Not unless you're not coming back. Let me know. It happens. You know what happened? You got online with a guinea pig who controls a whole bunch of cyborg guinea pigs, and unfortunately they nibbled your wires so we could take over the show. We have assimilated the Savage Show. It's ours now. We've taken control. We control the horizontal. We control the vertical. But there's so many good movies that they could wind up doing, and they could pull out of the pages of all those different comic books. There is tons of material out there, but they get lazy. I really do. I think that Disney gets lazy, and they sit there and they center the focus on a handful of characters instead of really like spreading the spectrum out and hitting all the different characters and all the different unique stories that they could use and bring in to the MCU to broaden it and widen it. I mean, they tried to do that with Ant-Man and the Wasp, but I mean, quite honestly, Ant-Man was never that popular of a character to begin with. Yeah, he was part of the original Avengers team and everything like that, but he was never a popular character. I mean, it's just such a fail. I mean, if they were going to go for a more popular character out of the Avengers, they should have went with Power Man. Or what was he called? Wonder Man? That would have been a better choice, I think. Yes, Bone, resistance is futile. There's tons of good characters that they just overlook constantly. And this is just one of the problems with a company like Disney. I mean, they've had under their thumb all this time, they've had the idea of doing a Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Originally, they were talking about doing an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie. But all this time, they've been playing around with it. If they would have did it years ago, I think that they would have drew in a lot more people, especially to their stupid Disney Plus. A lot more people would have been interested if they would have gave everything to the fans that they wanted to see. They wanted to see Boba Fett. They wanted to see Obi-Wan from the jump. And Disney hemmed and they hauled, and they said, well, we want to do something all our own. Well, you know what? Writing something all your own is great. But don't do it at the expense of everything that's already been there for all the fans who are going to be the ones that are going to give you that hard-earned money, not only to watch your Disney Plus shows, but to also buy the merchandise where the real cash lies. It's just stupid on their part. Maybe one of these days, the board of directors is going to sit there and they're going to look at the success that some of these other shows, like, take example, Cobra Kai, like the success that they've had paying attention to the rich history from the original Karate Kid movies. And I mean, even though it's only spanning 3 movies, they paid so much attention to the lore that was already set and established there and incorporated it into their show without taking away from all the new characters that they introduced. That is the way to do it. You talk about The Mandalorian, no. You want to talk about paying attention to everything that came before and doing it correctly. Cobra Kai is the way. And if Disney would take a page out of that, they could do so much more with Marvel and Star Wars. And it really just is a shame that they're so blinded by their own stupidity by trying to virtue signal to the whole damn wide world about how virtuous they are, that they're missing out on not only raking in the cash, which every corporation wants to do, but also securing a long-time fan base that is going to sustain them for years to come. Yeah, Moon Knight. He's another one of those characters I knew about. I was never into buying the comic books and reading about it, but I heard that he was very interesting. I heard he was almost like a Marvel's version of Batman in a way. Yeah, random bread. You know what? I think there is a lot of people that Star Wars has cut very deep. It's like a jilted lover, man. You know, you just don't get over it, and I think that's probably where a lot of people lie. Like, I mean, I know that's where I lie. I've just been so irritated and just, I don't know. I mean, they laughed at fans of the original stuff, the people who loved the EU, which, by the way, George Lucas did sign off on. For all those people that say the EU didn't matter, kiss fuzzy guinea pig ass. It did matter. That's why he had somebody write it in as canon, and why it had to follow his movie plots and not deviate so much for him that it created a conundrum with the original story of those movies. They had to fall in line or they were not considered canon. So suck it. Yeah, I mean, it is a shame though. Hopefully Immortal will get back too. Hurry up. Get the stream fired up. Do it. Do it now. Immortal, you are slacking. I've taken over your stream while you're standing around playing with your snickety snick blades. But I don't know. I mean, I've been spending a lot of my time, just because I can't watch a lot of this new stuff. I've been going back to a lot of the older stuff that I know I enjoyed. I mean, I just picked up Dr. Detroit the other night and started watching that again. And then, you know what? I remember that movie being funny, but damn, you know, even after all these years, I laughed my ass off watching that movie. Dan Aykroyd was just absolutely hilarious in that movie. And it really is a shame that they just don't have the gusto to be able to make these type of shows anymore. Something that's original, but something that is fun too. They can't seem to do it. Yeah, you know what? Random Brad, and you know what? I laughed my ass off because it was one of the things that they were doing in the 80s and everything. Every movie was going to have a sequel that was never really going to happen, like History of the World Part 1. They were going to have History of the World Part 2, Hitler on Ice, and see Hitler on Ice and stuff like that. It never happened. And he did the same thing at the end of Dr. Detroit, you know, Dr. Detroit 2, The Wrath of Mom. But, you know, it was like one of those joke things that they were doing in a lot of those movies in the 80s, but it was funny. It was hilarious. And it did leave the opportunity to be able to come back later on and do another movie if they so desired it. I mean, now you get these movies now, they talk about, oh, well, you know, the MCU started doing that kind of in a way where they were like, oh, well, will be continued and this, that, and the other thing. But they really weren't even sure if it was going to continue, some of them, because they had to wait to see how well the movie did. Because obviously, if a movie does so poorly, even if you say you're going to do a sequel, why would you if you lose money or you don't make the kind of revenue that you expect? That would just be foolhardy. There he is.
This is the first time. This is the first time that I've been canceled on my own stream. I don't fucking get this. So
it's all right. It's all right. I got the guinea pigs out there. We kind of held it down. We nibbled some of the wires, and they patched it back up.
And I appreciate that. So thank you for being patient. What's the topic we were riffing on?
Oh, we were talking about Wanda originally when you went out, and you were talking about the introduction of mutants and what I thought about it.
Yes.
I rambled on for a while, and then somehow it devolved into me talking about Dr. Detroit and History of the World Part 2.
Okay. So in the comic books, Wanda and Quicksilver were the offspring of Magneto. And by bringing the Days of Future Past Quicksilver, we actually have a shoe-in, they opened up the door to bring in mutants. So that was my last point. But I'm curious to hear what you've been saying, because I've been bogged with technical difficulties. This is bullshit. I don't
Well,
fucking like it, but
well, it was one of those things. Once again, I kind of felt like it's one of those ways that they could write these characters in while change them completely, and then have a reason why they were changed. I mean,
okay.
that's just me. I mean, it's an easy out for them because obviously Hugh Jackman is never going to come back, so they have to recast that role. Because if they don't bring back Wolverine and they start just bringing in mutants, people are going to be like, the first thing they're going to say is they're going to be like, "Where's Wolverine?" Because I was saying, like, underneath Spider-Man in Marvel, the next two most popular characters, one is owned by Universal right now, and that's the Hulk, and then the other one is Wolverine, which, regardless of whether Fox was bought out by Disney or whether Fox just wound up just dying and blowing off in the dust like they just got cremated, all those rights would have wound up coming back to Marvel anyway, which is under Disney. So either way, they were going to get Wolverine and all the mutant titles that Fox had under their purview. They were going to get them back. So it really didn't matter. But this is probably just a way of them saying, well, okay, well, we're going to do something different than Fox. And this is the reason we're going to do it, because of this. That's just my take on it. But
do you want to know my thesis for how to introduce Wolverine into the MCU?
You want to? Is it going to align with mine? If it does, I'll let you know. Go ahead.
Probably. So I think they should follow the introductory comic, which Wolverine was unleashed, and they should have him hunting Hulk.
Yep, that's exactly where I went with it.
And if they don't, they're stupid. So Wolverine appears to be a bad guy, and Hulk's like the guy we're rooting for, and he's, Bruce Banner, leave me alone. I'm just like a fucking weak little beta. But then when he grows up and he's like trying to, there's actually a very good animated series where they pulled it off more or less.
Yeah, but the Hulk versus Wolverine. Then they also did a Hulk versus Thor.
Yes.
Both of which were not horrible.
They're connected. They're the same fucking movie. But if they introduce Wolverine as a horror character, oh my god, dude.
Well, here's what I was saying earlier that you missed, and one of the reasons why I was talking about the Hulk and Wolverine, why it would make a lot of sense and why it could potentially be good, is because Universal still owns the rights to the Hulk as far as theatrical releases. So if you're going to have a movie titled Wolverine and Hulk, Universal is going to have some kind of part of it. So if they're going to have a part in it, kind of like Sony did with Spider-Man, there's a good chance that it could be done right.
There's a chance. Yeah. Elaborate.
Just obviously with everything that Universal has done with the Hulk, I mean, minus that one really bad Hulk with Eric Bana. I mean, that thing was just a train wreck. But when they redid it with Edward Norton, I didn't think it was bad. I think it paid a lot more attention to the original comic book.
One. Dude, Edward Norton was like almost the perfect one, but like I hear he's hard to get along with on the set.
Can you imagine actors in Hollywood being pricks?
No.
Nope.
No. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, but I think if they were to go that route, and then the Hulk is going to have, a co-title with Wolverine, I think there's a good chance if Universal steps in and they say, hey, our character is going to have to be done this way, and we're going to have to do some respect to it. And I think that they're going to pay more attention to what the fans actually want, because for the most part, Universal has done a fairly decent job at doing that, because they took all the criticism for the original Hulk that they did, and then they redid it with Norton, and they did a lot more respect to the original comic book version of the Hulk, and they did it right. So I think if that happens and Universal is taking part in it with Disney, maybe there's a good chance that you finally get something that's going to bring not only the normal popcorn type fans that want to see something like that, but I think that you're going to pull some of the comic book heads back in too. And that's where you're going to make money, and that's where you're going to make people turn their heads and pay attention.
Okay. So how much attention to lore and continuity in a movie makes sense to you? And then how much of it is just tried and true, like dude starts here and does that, and then goes over here, and then.
Well, you know, I've always believed that paying attention to the main plots of the story are key. Now, beyond that, anything that happens in between is kind of like fluff anyway. So if it's a little bit off script, that doesn't really matter as much. But as long as you tell the bulk of the story the way it should be, like when they did that X-Men Wolverine origin story, it was they had parts in it where they paid a lot of attention to the original comic book, and it was fairly decent. And then they started getting on with the movie, and it just started further
they
going
fucked the
away.
Silver Samurai, and they made it stupid. Yeah,
I mean, let's not even talk about the Deadpool that they had in the first X-Men origin Wolverine. That was just horrendous.
No, we don't speak of that.
That thing was an abomination.
No. Anyway.
But yeah, I mean, I think if Universal's on board with them, I think there's a good chance that they possibly could do it right, and you're going to see you could possibly see the introduction of mutants the way we should get it, the way the fans deserve to get it. Because without those original comic books and all the fans that have followed those things forever, would these things even make any noise at all?
No, I don't think they would. Honestly. So I read this article earlier about Stan Lee, about how he possibly invented his own legend. Possibly. But he was a key integral figure into all the fucking shit that came before. And by the end of his presence on Earth, he had amassed 22, 23 fucking cameos. So he knew what he was doing, even if he executed it poorly.
Well, Stan obviously had a vision when he first got into it. I mean, he started off as just a guy pretty much running favors for all the artists and everything like that at Marvel. And then he moved himself into a position where he was running the whole show. I mean, that's just, number one, that says something about the drive of the guy. And it also says something about his desire to create a good product, because he turned Marvel into a company that was able to stand not only shoulder to shoulder with DC, who was the number one comic book producer at the time, but at one point eclipsed them.
Sure.
And that was mostly because of Stan and Stan Lee's drive. So yeah, you talk about somebody who created his own legend. I would say without a doubt he did.
Well, and you could also argue that him and Jack Kirby, very fucking fundamental artist, ushered in the Silver Age of comics. So you have, Superman, Batman, who comprise Golden, and then you have like Spider-Man, you have the Fantastic Four, and these are people who occupy the 1960s, the 1970s, and then that's when you see X-Men and all this shit. And it's funny that it took like 20, 30 years for these ideas to fully evolve, but they did. And then our whole fucking universe is, I don't know, like it informs the modern mythology of what we're doing. Same as Star Wars. Star Wars and Marvel and DC and all these people are speaking to our higher selves and like urging us to become the people that we see in print and on screen and this and that. So, that's where my heart lends.
Now, just remember, every heroic step starts with just a single solitary step.
Yes, it sure does. Okay, so we're about to wrap this up. It's about an hour and a half. So, Tommy, sell your channel.
Oh, so you can find me over Tommy and the Guinea Pig Collective, where you can find me nibbling off toes of probably of people I can't stand and talking about things that I love, like toys and movies and that kind of thing. Right now, I'm still talking about all the weird shit that I'm finding in my father's house, and I'm trying to post videos as often as I can while I'm still in the middle of this shitstorm that he has left me. And remember, never let anybody tell you what you can and can't say, what you should or shouldn't watch, because your silence gives consent. Mortal, thank you for having me on. It's always a pleasure to be up here and be able to talk with you, my friend. And it has been way too long.
Yes, sir. And I would echo those words. You know,
Oh, no. Oh, no. It's happened again. I told them not to nibble and they nibbled. Just when you thought the nibbling was over. Dun, dun, we nibbled again. We didn't mean to. We're friendly guinea pigs. We just can't help it. We see those wires and we got to nibble them. Bone, take care, buddy. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, Brad, it happened again. I'm poor mortal. You know what, and I could completely sympathize with him. You know, early on when I was doing my channel, I was having the exact same problem. It was the reason that I couldn't get very many videos up on my channel early on, because my internet was so piss poor that it would take me sometimes up to like 16, even 17 hours to upload a single video. It was absolutely insane. And like people were telling me, oh, you know, it take a while to upload a video. What are you taking, 2 hours? Shit. You try about a 4-minute video. It's taking me no less than 8 hours, pal. And they're like, oh no, it takes me about a minute tops. Like, get out of here. Yeah, that was horrendous, man. I remember at one point I was getting a 0.03 megabytes per second on the download, and the upload was damn near non-existent. It was horrendous. I think the longest upload that ever took was something like 26 hours, and it was about a 10-minute video. It was absolutely nuts. I remember my wife was bitching at me because she couldn't use the internet because I was tying it up with this upload. That was absolutely hilarious. Yeah, lucky for me, I had my bass guitar to play while I couldn't use the internet, so it didn't really bother me that much. Oh, you know what? It drove me absolutely insane, Brad. Absolutely insane. I was on the phone almost every other day with the people from the internet service, just like going crazy on them. Finally, I got a hold of people in the upper management area at their corporate headquarters, and I started chewing their ears out. And then all of a sudden, somebody started listening. Next thing you know, my internet got better to the point where, you know, that 8-hour upload didn't happen anymore. Even at a 20-minute video, it was taking me, it was maybe 2.5 hours or so. So it definitely improved. Nowhere near as good as what I'm getting here at my aunt and uncle's house, or at my dead father's house. You know, I mean, even his internet is like 10 times better than what I'm getting in Florida. So I'm just waiting for the wheels of progress to supposedly hit me all the way down there. Unfortunately, I'm out in a rural area, so being out in a rural area, we're like the last ones to get anything. So, is what it is. Just have to deal with it. I will struggle. People just don't understand the guinea pig struggle. It's real. That's why we had to get cybernetics. But yeah, oh, poor mortal. Can't believe it. Twice in one show, we lost him. Yeah, I went through similar problems. Change server, run a cable out to my workshop. Yeah, I wish that there were some kind of options where I am. One of the biggest problems with where I'm at is we only have one provider. That's it. There's only one provider for internet service in our entire area. And it's just because we're so far out. I mean, if you go not even 3-4 minutes away from my house, it's nothing but big open like grass area, and there's cows and horses and everything else out there. So I mean, that's the kind of area I'm in. Not to say it's completely devoid of houses, but not far away. It's just such a big rural area where I'm in the general area where I'm at, that they just don't even think about moving all the wires and other internet providers out there for some reason. Yeah. I mean, it's nice though. It's nice and quiet. Get a lot of raccoons, turkey buzzards, gopher turtles, the occasional black racer snake. It's pretty quiet though. I like it. The only thing I hear more noise out of the guinea pigs squeaking for food. Boy, that's something. Actually, I kind of miss that. I actually will be kind of happy to get home and hear them yelling again. Maybe possibly I will expand the collective at home. Get another member. Probably should put them on camera more often. Cringer did really well in a solo video like a week or so ago. Yeah, it is. It is really nice. Like I go outside and it's just trees all over the place. I don't have a neighbor on my physical block that I'm on. There are no other houses on it. And the block across the street has two houses, one on one side that's on the same street I'm on and one on the opposite street. And the lot behind me, I think, only has a couple houses, but they're like another street over. So a lot of open area with nobody. It's beautiful. Yeah, I did a little video. I put some clips that my wife has been sending me of the guinea pigs. I put some clips of Cringer in there and put, had him do a voiceover. Guinea pig, cyborg style. All will be assimilated. These guys are funny, man. Man, I don't. I couldn't believe today. You want to hear? I'm going to talk about this real quick. You talk about all these different people that sit there and they bash down on people that are associated with or part of the fandom Menace, and then you go out there and you watch some of what these other people are doing. Like Drunk 3PO was doing that stream where he was raising money to help stop people being abducted. Kids being abducted. That's amazing. The amount of people that went out of their way and were donating to that cause, just truly astounding. I mean, when I popped off and I came over here to jump on More Mortal, I want to say that they were something at like 27 or 28,000. Just think about that. All these people that are supposedly racist, toxic, misogynistic, all pulling together for a good cause like that. That is something amazing. And that's something that you will never hear the little blue check marks on Twitter ever talk about. They will never mention it because they will never mention any of the good that we do because they just want to pretend in their little bubble of a world that all of us are so horrible that we probably like kick dogs when we walk down the street, steal lollipops out of babies' mouths. I mean, this is the way that they think we are. And it really is a shame. I mean, I myself have never claimed fandom Menace. I've never claimed the hashtag. I've always claimed the guinea pig Menace. That has always been my thing. I align with a lot of the people that are part of the fandom Menace. I align with a lot of those people. I share a lot of the values they do. I also talk with people that are outside of it, that are not part of that. And you know what? I align with a lot of their values too. Cotton Connection. Gotta drop that in there. Hope Snow is doing good. Last time I checked, he was still over there with Drunk. Oh, I'll wait for you, Immortal. You can fix it, buddy. I would close your stream out, but I don't have that ability. Tommy, it's pissing me off right now. I was going to mention how other fandoms have been bashing the shit out of Fandom Menace. Drunk is great people. Yeah, he is. Absolutely, he is. And you know what? I kind of tease Drunk sometimes, and I tell him, when is he up for sainthood? And if he's going to apply for it, if there's like a long waiting list, when does he get the Halo? But I mean, really, honestly, the guy does a whole lot of good for a whole lot of people and people that he doesn't even have to do it for. He just does it out of the kindness of his heart. So my hat is off to him because you know what? It's one of those things. If I don't know, if I was in that position, it might be easier to do stuff like that. If I had the kind of resources to pull together, but you know what? I mean, how much did Drunk really start off when he started doing it? He just went for it, and that's amazing. It's commendable. I mean, unfortunately, you know, some of us have a lot of other things that we got to take care of, you know. Like a lot of people have families and everything like that, and they don't have the time or the opportunity to donate themselves the way that Drunk does. And that's just truly amazing. I just don't think he gets enough credit for that shit. Okay. All right. So we're going to wrap it up here. And we are going to bid you all adieu and farewell. Have a good one. And remember, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Take care, y'all.